Welcome back to the channel. As you can tell, today we're going to be working on the new Racecar RS, and it's going to be a lot. But I was supposed to start this video 5 hours ago. It's 12 o'clock, and now I have to get this done before the sun sets. So it's a lot of work, but we're going to get it done. First things first is going to be removing these damaged panels, so that way we can see how we need to pull. Then we're gonna pull, then we're gonna remove this front end, show you the new parts to replace it, and then hopefully, if all goes well, we can weld in the new rat support and have this car looking again like a car. Without further ado, let's go right into the time lapse and get things going. All right, guys, so actually the one thing that I didn't expect to happen was that I think I was able to straighten out the front end just by pulling it, because as you guys saw before, all the damage was centralized right here, where this was kind of pushed back and dented down like that. So I was actually able to just, this point right here, this did get a little damage here, but I just hooked my 500-pound $8 Husky strap here, and then I ratcheted as much as I could to the back of my truck, and then I ended up just moving my truck. And now I measured these measurements from this bolt to the center of this hole, and this one, and then also the center of this hole to the upper control arm bolt right here. Sorry, right here. And all the distances are pretty much the same. There's actually, I think, like maybe a 1/4 of an inch tolerance difference, tolerance and difference in tolerance. I don't know. They're pretty much there, but there's no but. I think the real telling tale is gonna be to bolt everything back in. You know, I gotta align the radiator back up here. This looks like this is still up actually, so I gotta pull this down, like tilt this like that, so it's level here, it's flat, because as you can tell right now, yeah, see how it goes up? So I gotta bring this down here, and this down there, and then this should go right into the radiator mount. So should this one. Also, I think then at that point we'll put headlights in the bumper on and see how that lines up, and we could keep moving forward. So let's finish quickly pulling this and making this as straight as possible. So we have to pivot this down here and here. We're gonna have to bring this little bar up a little bit, and then also this here, this part of the radiator support has to come down a bit. Then I think we'll be ready to move on to the next thing. Sorry I was so close to you guys. I was looking down here seeing what was in there. So I've been saying so a lot. We're gonna have to start a so count down here in the corner. But yeah, I'm actually excited, because I was dreading it, because I thought we were gonna have to remove all these spot welds on this front rad support, and then on the donor rad support we had, and then weld all that. So I mean, this is not a permanent fix. This is pretty temporary. I think this will do just fine, unless we run into some crazy fitment issues. We're just gonna run with this until we have time to address the rad support, especially, you know, when we replace the engine, manual convert this, because this engine bay is disgusting. Look at this thing. Prop valve is leaking. It's rusted beyond repair. All this is filthy. I mean, this car has, look at this power steering pump. This car has 215,000 miles. Look at that back corner actually. You could tell the brake booster, the brake master was leaking, and then it was just dump it in there. They just kind of just replaced the master and left it alone. Nonetheless, there's going to be a ton of work to do here, so there's definitely going to be an opportunity for us to come back and replace this when we, you know, redo the whole engine bay and everything. So we're not going to focus on that, because I think the most important thing would be to get this car back on the road so we could kind of figure what it needs and what it doesn't need, and then eventually work on the manual swap. Let's finish pulling this, bring out the parts that we're going to replace, and start mounting some things up. See you guys in a bit. Out with the old, in with the new. What we have here is an OEM 2000 or 98 and up front bumper. I was thinking about going with the 97 and up, or like a 94 to 97, so like an older pre-facelift front end. However, it's only the bumper that changes, but I don't have a good condition bumper in the inventory right now. So I had this one from my part outs and this HUD, so literally it worked out perfectly. So, and I'm not gonna paint it yet, so maybe as I come through some other cars, maybe I'll end up with a 94 to 97 front bumper, and we'll use that. But for the time being, we have headlights, a bumper, so might as well just use what we have instead of going out there and trying to buy things. Unfortunately, it's not white, obviously, so we are gonna have to paint it if we decide to stay with this. But since we're not sure about that, for the time being, this will just have to do. We have OEM headlights. They came with another one of our, actually all these parts came from one of the part outs that I bought a couple months ago. And these are all parts that I didn't try to sell because I was gonna use them. So it worked out perfectly, because this was before I even bought this car, like months before I bought this car. So what we're gonna do now is put on the headlights and then the bumper. And as long as these two match up, we could play with the hood a lot. There's a lot of playing the hinges. So if that works out, then we could probably have this car back driving in a matter of like 2 more clips. It's an interesting angle here. Hopefully you guys like it. You guys see enough here. But I'll zoom in so you guys can see it. But as you can tell, we're good in this corner here. Basically from this high beam light over to the center, this part of the rad support still has to come forward, just like straight forward. Doesn't have to come at an angle, straight forward. Here, all right, on this side here, it seems that I can make it work, but perhaps maybe the whole front end, when the accident hit here, it kind of shifted the whole front end like that, which will make a lot of sense. So now I basically have to pull it, like bring it back out so it straightens this side and everything leading up to here. Because as you can tell, the closer to this corner, the more centered they are. But as they go further and closer to that side, they go deep. So obviously we did a great job with that corner because all these holes lined up perfectly. Like, look at this. There's like nothing holding it. It's just sitting there. So, and I was pulling from right here. Now for the next pulling sessions, I have to pull from right here. Well, technically, if I pull enough from right here, it should pull this, so that is all good. And these holes are lining up a lot better. So most of my pull is gonna be in this area. I just have to find how I'm gonna do that so that it brings the front end right where it needs to be. So, we have to remove the bumper. It's gonna be a couple times of doing that, just so we can keep bringing it in. So right now, still have my little tape measure. The center of this hole is at 1 inch. So that means we need to get to the center, we gotta move probably like a 1/2 of an inch up there. A 1/2 of an inch here. It seems like it's probably gonna be a 1/2 of an inch all along, yeah. Here it gets less, obviously. It gets 1/4 of an inch and less as we go there because the impact was here. So now I'll just keep pulling this forward and I think we'll be all right. Back to the time lapse. Check that out. I mean, a little bit of a gap there. I think here looks pretty unison, except that there's like a bulge right between these two lights. You can see it right there. This weird bulge. This thing looks great. Honestly, I am gonna have to bump this bulge right here. It's actually ahead of this headlight here. So I am gonna have to bump this bulge down, but for the time being, I think it's pretty great. So I use the word great now. Honestly, the 3 pulls I did, I'm not too sure. Maybe you guys can answer in the comments. When you pull like that, do you have to, I don't know, hammer it down? Do you like with a, I guess a dolly, do you like hammer it down? Do you just leave the tension there for some time and then just release it? Because I'm not too sure. I just, I pull the ratchet or the car and then I just let it sit for maybe like a good like 30-40 seconds and then I just let it go, hoping that it could just, slowly like pulls it in. And obviously a little bit of it is going to go back, but I'm not too sure about that. So if you guys can leave that in the comment, because I'm sure we're going to keep buying crash cars. It just seemed to be our thing lately. But the car, I mean, I'm excited to see with the bumper. So see, the headlights obviously are different. We are going to switch those. These headlights, they're going to be clean in a bit. In this video, we're going to clean them and put them back on. But the next thing to do would be to put the hood on. that hood back on, but unfortunately, I noticed some things like that. You see, see how far that is here compared to here? So this hinge is absolutely broken. I mean, not broken, bent. Not only is it bent this way, too far in that way, but if you look at it, it's also tweaked. You see, comes out this way more. So that's not gonna work. And then if you go on this side, also it's this way, but it's not even connected. So see, the bolt's not even, looks like the bolt came out. It looks like it was, sorry, it looks like it was cross-threaded at some point. So hopefully that's still a threadable hole. We're gonna see in the next, we're gonna find out soon when we replace these coming up. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. You guys like the black on black, the black on white? Call it the Panda. I don't know, I'm not a big car namer, but it looks pretty good. The fitment looks pretty good. Don't mind this turn signal. The inside bracket's not in there. We had to use it for this car, but we have the one back for that. We're gonna put it, once we take the bumper off for the last time, bump this down, and this one's kind of giving us some trouble here, but I think it's something else. But anyways, look at that. Not perfectly aligned. See right here, the fender does come a little higher, but I think we can adjust that on this bracket right here on the bumper. I'm pretty excited. This turned out to be a lot easier. I'm like so excited because I really thought I was gonna have to drill all these out, which eventually we will, most likely, but it saved a ton of time today. You can tell, look at the rat support. Nice, straight. It looks pretty flat all along, but you can see, look at my fingers coming in. You can see, right there, the bump where that's too high. So that I'm gonna have to hammer that down with a sledge to get that a little bit better. Let me go get the hinges, and then we can see if this latch is gonna be good, because this thing was bent all the way down. I just hammered it back up, so hopefully it works, because those are kind of hard to come by. All right, doesn't look too bad. Obviously, where it was hit, you could tell that's too low. So basically, it looks like, I guess you would say that this whole rat support has to go up about a half an inch, quarter of an inch, especially like in the hood latch area. Or, yeah, I'm not too sure actually as to how that would work. But I put the hinges, and the hood, I feel like, lines up pretty good. I can't say that the hood is the problem here. Truthfully, I would say that to get the best answer as to what really needs to move, you would have to, well, in this situation with the crash car, you would have to replace the radiator support, and then you would have to line this up with like OEM parts, because this hood, I've only heard, like, actually, I'm not gonna talk bad, but sometimes these hoods don't fit the best, and I'm gonna use that this time for my benefits. So maybe when we get an OEM hood, it'll line up better, but I don't really care for that right now. This is a race car, so it doesn't need to be the prettiest thing. I think this is more just about function over form. So as long as the hood closes, the headlights turn on, the blinkers blink, we got ourselves a full running car. So now we're just gonna replace this headlight, do the final adjustments to the radiator supports to see if we can get rid of some of these gaps here, and then clean the headlights, and then she'll be done. You see it, it's all done. Fitment's a million times better. I did have to hammer this thing down a little bit, the rat support on that corner, because it was just too tall. I still have a bit of a gap here, but that's 100% because the hood latch is too high. So bringing down the hood latch, that'll fix that gap. The headlights are in. I gave them a quick little buff so they're not as yellow anymore. And the bumper's completely mounted. I didn't want to record just the same clips over and over, so I didn't record when I put the bumper on the last time after I adjusted it. And I did do one more pull from the actual latch bar, pulled it forward, and all the holes lined up perfectly on their own. So the bumper is basically back where it needs to be. The Racecar, I would say, is about 90% back where it needs to be. Obviously, like there's a little height discrepancy on that side, but as far as like where the holes line up, they lined up perfectly, like where they're supposed to be. The bumpers went well onto the fenders. That fender's a little higher. I can adjust that later, but the main point from today's video was just to get the car looking like a car again. Truthfully, I prefer to have this bumper be white just so it doesn't stand out like this, because the rest of the car looks pretty decent from afar. So I might order some wrap and just wrap like some gloss white wrap and wrap this bumper white to match the rest of the car. So it's officially ready to rip. So I guess moving forward, we have to develop this, because I believe we have only a month left to get to the track. The track, I believe, is March 21st. So all I'm gonna really try to do is just do the manual transmission, and that's it, because I don't think this car needs anything else. Because again, like I said with the EG Civic, that it was gonna be a developmental car. So like as we drove, we developed it more, but I completely failed there. I think my last attempt at the track was just a joke, really, because I put like 4 different Steelies and stock suspension. This thing was like all over the road. So with that being said, we're not going to do that with this one. So I think we have a great base. Glad we fixed up the front end. It wasn't really that bad. It took maybe like 4 or 5 hours to get it done. We got really lucky because I thought we were going to have to replace this. So good with that. But thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know about that pulling method, because we're going to need that moving forward. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, because it really helps us grow as a channel. So see you guys on the next one.